Welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast, dedicated to highlighting the good right here in Marionville, Missouri.
You know, some things in life are worth waiting for. And every second and fourth Wednesday of the month, Jim attends the Lions Club meeting at Aliceirenes during lunch and typically brings me back lunch, which always includes a dinner roll fresh from the kitchen. Yep, it's worth waiting for, but actually you don't have to wait for it. I'm pretty sure you can get a fresh dinner roll whenever they are open.
You know, today's guest is Brad Wells, and he's going to give us a little background on the restaurant and also talk about being bivocational as a restaurateur and a pastor at Shiloh Baptist. Brad Wells, welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast. Let's get started with your family background. Tell us about your family, wife, kids, extended family.
I'm married to Amanda Wells. We just celebrated 20 years of marriage, and
Congratulations.
well, thank you. And we have 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 little girl.
Yes.
So how long have you been? Okay.
No, that's okay.
Oh, go ahead.
And also, explain your extended family, because your family has because of the restaurant. I mean, a lot of people know there's family involved.
Yeah, Amanda and I have the restaurant with my mom and dad, and my mom is originally from Hurley, Missouri, which is nearby, and my dad grew up here in Marionville, so dad still has lots of family here in Marionville.
Awesome. So how long have you lived here your whole life, Brad?
I grew up in Nixa,
Okay.
but grandma lived here, and so I was always in and out of Marionville. Remember going to Applefest as a little boy, and coming to Marionville for holidays and Sunday lunches and just whenever. And so I've been in Southwest Missouri my entire life, but we moved to Marionville the day we got back from our honeymoon. My brother brought a bed down and put it at the farmhouse we live in, and we've been there ever since.
That's awesome.
I was going to ask that bed. That's not still the bed you're using. I'm sure 20 years later, living in the farmhouse, who knows where that. Okay. All right.
Just move on, Jake.
Moving on. Did you always want to be a chef and a restaurant owner?
No, and I'm still trying to figure out what I really want to do.
So you're still trying to figure out what you want to do with your life when you grow up? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When I was a little kid in the 3rd grade, I really felt like God was calling me to be a missionary. Mm-hmm. And I felt that call very strongly for 2 or 3 years. And then, not that ever went away, but other things came into my mind. And at one time, I wanted to work for the Park Service, and then teaching, coaching. And then in college, I realized that I wanted to farm and have a restaurant to direct market what we raised.
Wow. Okay, so I believe that you and Amanda met in culinary school, right?
That is correct.
So was that the college you're referring to, or tell us how did that all happen?
I went to Evangel University, and I chose to go there because I wanted to play football, and they'd let me walk on there,
Awesome.
and had a great time there. And I was started to study to be an English and math teacher. And about my sophomore year, I realized that no, that's not really what I wanted to do. So
Which part, the English or the math or the teacher?
yes.
All of the above.
And I get the English thing. No offense to English teachers listening, but wow, that'd be rough. But math, I taught math for a year. It wasn't bad.
Okay, so what did you do? You switch majors, or?
No, I finished. I actually really, I love teaching. I love English and I love math.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that there was something else that I really wanted to do. And so I finished because I started. And then I went to culinary school. And
Where's that?
it was at OTC there in Springfield. And they have a very, very good school. It taught me a lot, and I walked away with a wife. So
There you go. So then,
Most people go to Bible school to find a wife. You went to culinary school to find a wife.
that's right. At Evangel, they had the saying, a ring by spring, but I never found that out, and I'm glad I didn't.
that's awesome. So when you met Amanda, did you guys just decide okay, when we're done here, we're going to get into a restaurant? What are we going to do? How did that happen? How did you end up with Aliceirenes?
Yeah, it happened a lot faster than I think we ever thought it would, and maybe it was partially by plan or by accident. That seems like a lifetime ago, but we looked at some different area properties that were available, and we just kind of settled at what was then the Grants building, and I actually had worked for Grants for a short while during one winter. and that's where we kind of ended up.
So that's where you are today. It used to be called the Grants Building.
Well, Grant's Restaurant.
Grant's Restaurant. Okay. So I believe you just celebrated your 18th anniversary, right? Of having the restaurant. Wasn't that what it was on Facebook?
I get confused with numbers, to be honest. I like math.
You love math.
But I think it was 19. I accidentally got that confused with my wedding anniversary a couple of weeks ago, and that was a messy deal.
Yeah, that's messy.
I
All
hope
right. You got married first, and then
Did
you
you
got
buy flowers to fix that mess up?
maybe she made it. He
Did
made her a
you buy
ribeye.
flowers to that mess up?
Maybe it's a
Clearly,
good
the answer is
idea.
not.
No,
All
we
right.
went to dinner.
And somebody else cooked, right?
right.
Okay, good. All right.
That's
So your kids have literally grown up in the restaurant and now they're starting a new business. Tell us about Wells Farm Pork.
Yes, our 15-year-old Elijah, but really all the kids help with it to some extent. He started, I think last June, he bought his first 2 pigs, and he's been as high as 50, but right now he has 39 pigs.
Those 2 pigs have created 50 pigs already?
Well, it's funny. He just keeps buying more, and then he's also breeding. He has 5 females that should be giving birth before September.
wow. And like, how big of a litter do they have usually?
Anywhere from 4 to 12 is
Oh my
our
goodness.
experience.
So do you feed them all the scraps at the end of the day from Aliceirenes?
We do the breeding stock. We do feed the breeding stock, the scraps, but we also feed out pigs that we use for meat at the restaurant, and they get pig food. They get
Because I know I've worked at a church. Martha and I worked at a church camp when we were just outside of high school, and they would feed the pigs all summer long, all the leftovers, scraps from the cafeteria. And at the end of the year, then you had a pig roast, and they were very tasty.
Yes, they were. The
They had
staff,
been
the
filled
staff
full
would-
of pancakes and
yeah, but the bad
strawberries.
thing was is we lived close by that pig, and it was
Aw,
Daisy.
Daisy.
So that was kind of sad.
All right, so
So Daisy was tasty.
Yeah, Daisy was very tasty.
So tell us about the pork then. I mean, you've got these pigs, and you've got a now brand new freezer, refrigerator at or I don't know if it's a freezer or refrigerator at the restaurant. What kind of pork products are you selling?
Right now in the freezer case that we have pork roasts, pork chops, hog jowl, liver, bacon, sausage, Italian sausage.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Here in another month, we're going to be getting sausage links.
Okay.
And then in the fall, we'll be bringing out bratwursts.
Wow. Oh, perfect for German Fest, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Nice.
awesome. So people can come into the restaurant when it's open and buy right from your freezer right there at the restaurant, right?
They can. We do have cuts, and then if they're wanting something a little bit bigger, we do offer some bundles, which are a larger amount. We take some off. We give it a discount
Sure.
for the bulk buy, and we like that because the person doesn't have to buy a whole or a half hog and then mess with the processor. They can just come to us and take it straight home.
Fabulous. So I'm going to put the Facebook link to Wells Farm Pork in the show notes. Is there anything else that people should know about getting a hold of you guys?
No, that's a good way. And I would
Okay.
just say, like you said, Daisy was tasty. If you've never had actual farm raised pork, nothing wrong with commercial pork. I've grew up eating it, but it really is a different product.
Well, it's much like last week we had Wes Murphy here from Murphy's Orchard, and the same thing. You know, apples from the grocery store are fine, but there is nothing like having an apple that is ripened all the way right on the tree. So it's that same thing, just getting it and supporting local families. I think this is just huge for our community to realize. So we're excited for you guys.
I got an idea for you, Brad.
What?
Brad, I got an idea for you.
What's that?
You know how you just did ribeye lunch on Saturday? I think maybe in the fall you should do a pig roast lunch.
We'll have to think about that.
I mean-
That's a good idea.
I mean, roast it right off front, with the apple in the mouth kind of a thing. And then, I mean,
That's awesome.
Oh, man, just my mouth water right now.
Yep.
All right. So
Pig roast.
your pig,
Good old-fashioned pig
roast.
roast.
At Aliceirenes, just look for it. Come this fall.
Sponsored by Jim Brankenbrett,
And-
apparently.
That's right. That's right.
Central Place, maybe.
That's right. All right. So you're also the lead pastor at Shiloh Baptist. And I say it because you get lots of pastors in your church, people that are shepherds. at Shiloh Baptist. Martha and I got a chance to visit and actually preach at your church a couple months ago. How did that whole thing come about? Because you're running a restaurant, you got 4 kids, you got a wife, and now you're also running a church.
Well, yeah, and it's just God's plan and the way He organizes our life, and I'm so thankful for Him planning my life instead of me. I mentioned earlier that I really felt like I was called to be a missionary and then preacher in the third grade, and then it seemed like that. I don't want to say went away, but it kind of got put on hold. And now being able to look back on it all, I realized that in my 20s, I wasn't in a place to have that responsibility. And I admire guys that do that at that age. But for me personally, I wasn't ready for that. And so God was preparing me for what was to come. And when we moved to Marionville, we moved to Buck Prairie Baptist Church just south of town. That's where the Wells, my family had traditionally gone, and loved our time there. Spent over 10 years there. Spent 10 years as a deacon in that church, and learned the rural church. Learned a lot about ministering and from the laity. And as Jim mentioned, the laity is the lifeblood of a church, and
That'd be the volunteers.
mhm,
That's right.
the everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
But in my mid 30s, God started doing a work, and He told me that kind of reshifted some of my dreams. And then a couple months later, I had 3 or 4 people, and one guy I didn't even know just tell me, "Weren't you supposed to be a minister?"
Hmm.
And he just brought me to that point where I surrendered to pastoring. And 2, 3 months after that, Shiloh had a need, and I went for just one Sunday, and then they asked if I'd come back the next Sunday. And I realize now that God had brought me to the point because He knew He would have a need in a local church, and that's kind of history.
So he's getting you ready. But isn't it true that running a restaurant and feeding people, that's also a ministry?
It absolutely is, and I believe if you're a Christian, everything you do should be a ministry. You do it unto the Lord. And so when we opened Aliceirenes, we purposely wanted it to honor God. That's the biggest reason why we never opened on Sunday. And not everyone liked that decision, but we wanted to honor God through that, and we also wanted to be able to attend church. And
And little did you know that would also mean being able to lead a congregation on a Sunday. If you had to make that decision, that would have been, put you in a different place. But you guys had already made that decision that you weren't going to be open. Okay, so
Well, I can honestly tell you that every time you cook the garlic chicken sandwiches, and that is God honoring for sure.
that is God honoring.
Man, they are good.
He does come home very happy after he has
man.
the garlic chicken sandwich. All right. So your church just hosted Vacation Bible School this past week. And I just want to mention a couple things that I noticed as someone just kind of watching what was happening. Number one is that your church partnered with Buck Prairie, partnered with another church to actually do Vacation Bible School. And I really love that because it's really about collaboration. A lot of churches think that they're in competition. Like if we do something, their people might start coming to the other church or vice versa, and it really appeared as though you set that aside and not competing with each other. Why did you guys do it as a joint Vacation Bible School?
It was actually around Valentine's Day. A couple of the ladies from Buck Prairie asked us because a year ago at this time, it was about a year ago, Buck Prairie was having their VBS, and the person who had planned their VBS for 20 years, Shirley Andrus, a wonderful, wonderful lady, greatly enjoyed getting to know her. She actually passed away during their VBS week. And she was kind of the heart and soul of their VBS experience, and they were just kind of they wanted to continue with VBS to honor her, and they thought that joining with us to do it together might make the most sense for them. And I'm so thankful they we were able to do that together.
That's so awesome.
And I heard about a pie incident at Vacation Bible School there at Shiloh. How did that happen?
Yeah, the pie incident. I think my eyes are still watering from that. Um, we we did.
You know how some people do the pie in the face thing and they just put whipped cream in a pie plate?
No, when you're a restaurant
When
owner,
you're owning a restaurant, you waste a perfully good pie.
key lime.
A
So
key
that's why
lime pie.
Brad
in
is
the
saying his
face.
eyes were stinging.
Oh, my word. All
Okay,
right.
you guys got pies in the face, you and Pastor Jack, because of what?
The kids raised money, the offering the whole week, and
Yep.
and we went through an organization called Heifer International that buys farm animals and offers the training to go with them for people in Africa and third world countries that don't have food, that have food issues. And so we were able to buy a couple of flocks of chickens, a hive of bees, a couple hives of bees,
Wow.
and the training to go with them so they could have a honey business.
That's critical training.
Absolutely. And that's what this organization does, is not only give them the animals, but the training to turn it into a sustainable business model. And the kids doubled their goals. So Jack and I both got a pie in the face, and Jack's daughter made a wonderful key lime pie, but key lime's juice does burn in the eyes when it's placed there.
Note to self, maybe save the key lime to eat after the pie throwing next time.
To waste a perfectly good key lime pie, I'm just throwing, I don't know, but not a key lime pie to fill it with mashed potatoes or something. But
good sports and great job for all the kids raising the money.
And how many kids you guys have come out for VBS?
I think we had around 32 registered, and we averaged 27 a night.
That's pretty good.
Excellent.
So you're also involved in the Marionville Ministerial Alliance and Applefest. What motivates you to be involved in so much in the community?
We partnered with the Marionville Ministerial Alliance because we needed some support. We'd have people reach out to us for help, and I found out that we were able to help better collaborating with other churches. And then as we started partnering with the Alliance, they're a great group of individuals, and it really has become a team that I cherish because we lean on each other, we pray for each other, and we talk about ways that we can effectively minister to this community as the body of Christ, not as separate individual churches.
That's so good. And I've enjoyed getting to know you and be working with you on the Applefest committee. How many years have you been involved with that?
I think 4 or 5, and I've loved having Martha and getting to know her, and I'm really excited for where Applefest is going. I think when I started, I actually showed up because they're having a fundraiser at the restaurant, and I showed up to answer questions about the fundraiser. And then I just kept on going back. And for about a year, I just was a cheerleader telling them they were doing a great job. There wasn't as many volunteers as we are blessed with now. And so I started just seeing what I could do to help, and it just I never left.
That's awesome. So we actually have our monthly meeting tonight. And if there's anybody watching this afternoon, you are welcome and invited to come to our meeting as well. Just observe, be a cheerleader, and see then how you can get involved. It's right here at Central Place, and we start at 6:30. Or you can always reach out to me if you want to come to a future meeting. We would love to have you join us. There is never too many. We can always use more. All right. Is there anything else, Brad, that you would want to share before we go on to other good news that we have for locally today?
No, not that I can think of, but thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed, I loved when Jim came and preached at the church, and I've just really enjoyed getting to know you two.
Well, you guys are an awesome team, and we love the way that you serve this community so beautifully, and it's wonderful to be able to honor you with just getting to hear your heart a little bit more.
That's right. Hey, school news. School's out for the summer. Summer school's out already, and it's because there's so much construction going on at the middle school, elementary, and they needed to get the kids out of the way so they can move
kids out of the way.
Walls and install doors and windows. There's so much great stuff going on. And if you've driven by the football field, go out Western and drive by the football field and just see they've got the new football field is going in. It will be a all AstroTurf. Well, I don't know if that's the brand they're using, but an all turf field. That's fake turf that won't be impacted by needing to be mowed on a weekly basis. Check it out. It's amazing what's happening over there. Fireworks are on June 28th at the park. This is a highlight every year. Food trucks will be on site to enjoy before it gets dark. Clayton always puts on a great show. Make sure you show up, bring the bug spray, and bring your friends and family, have some food, and enjoy the fireworks. Oh, and chairs.
Or blankets. I just am so happy. The traffic at the food pantry box at City Hall has been very steady, with people either dropping off or picking up food that they need. So I just want to encourage everybody to keep it up. This is a great way to help your neighbors that are in need, especially with the kids home from school. There is higher demand for good snacks and items for kids to eat. I posted a picture of the empty box on Facebook on Saturday night, and I know that several of you have already brought food since then. So way to go and keep it up.
Nice job. Hey, thanks to the Bank of Billings for being a podcast sponsor right here on Good Place Marionville. Technology is ever changing, and that's why the Bank of Billings is working hard to update their offerings with better online banking, mobile banking, updated ATMs and ITMs. You'll have to ask them about those. Remember, they're a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Hey, fireworks stands are up and will be open for business very soon. You know the saying, it's a lot of fun until someone gets hurt. What are you saying? All right, well, let's all do our part to keep our town injury-free as we celebrate our country's independence.
The first responders would really like to see it injury-free, don't you think, Jim?
Yes, we'd like to see it injury-free, and maybe during this celebration of our country's birthday, you'd like to celebrate by becoming a first responder. Get a hold of Chris Bowling at City Hall.
The Lions Club is actually having a ribeye dinner fundraiser at Aliceirenes next week on June 26th. Jim, tell the people what the Lions Club is currently working on and how the fundraiser is really a great way to help support the only civic organization we have right here in Marionville.
So the Lions Club was formed here about 87 years ago, I believe.
Oh, just that many?
It's a few years ago. And we take care of eye needs. So if somebody doesn't have enough money to get their eyes checked or eyes operated on or needs a pair of glasses, but we also get involved in other community needs. We have scholarships that we do, just a lot of things to help out people in need. Recently, we've had several people that have needed surgeries for their eyes, and we've been able to help out with transportation costs and some things like that. But we've basically almost run out of all of our money that we had in our bank account. And so we need to do another fundraiser so we can give away some more money to when we have people get a hold of us when they're in need. So tickets are $30, but it's an all-inclusive dinner. That includes your meal, your dessert, your drink, and your tip. $30. Get a hold of Martha at 417-677-8167 to purchase tickets, or you can call Aliceirenes and make a reservation and arrange things with Amanda. That can also happen as well. But it's next Thursday from 5 until 8, a ribeye dinner, courtesy of the Lions Club. Well, courtesy of you on behalf of the Lions Club.
There you go. Reservations are required.
That's right. They are definitely required. Amanda doesn't want everybody to show up at the same time. All right. And neither does Brad, because he's back in the kitchen actually making stuff good. And Brad, will we be able to get medium rare ribeye next week?
I believe you should.
Okay, good. All right.
He likes his mooing.
Hey, one last, another advertisement here. Central Place has offices for rent. We have long-term lease options right here in our building. Give us a call, 417-677-8167. We'd love to have you join us here. We've got offices that are all inclusive with internet and conference room space. Love to have you here. A great environment for growing your business.
All right, in other business news, this week, Wednesday, June 18th at 12:30, the Marionville Business Connect Group is having our monthly meeting on location at the Pickleball Warehouse, hosted by Renee Reif. She'll be serving pizza, giving us a tour, and allowing us some time to hit the courts. So give me a call at 417-677-8167 and let me know that you can join us. All local business owners and managers are welcome. We meet monthly to network and learn new business ideas.
Thanks to Brad Wells of Aliceirenes and Shiloh Baptist Church for being our guest today. And thanks also to the Bank of Billings for sponsoring today's podcast. You too can consider becoming a sponsor of today's podcast, of the Good Place Marionville podcast. You can contact us at goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com.
And you can report good news happening all around you at that same email address. If you enjoy this podcast, please remember to subscribe to your YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified when each new episode releases.
Thanks for joining us on the Good Place Marionville podcast. Keep your eyes out for the good, and together we can celebrate Marionville.